the moment that it happened, I heard like a loud rip, and and it was a shock. I was going running full sprint, and as I tripped, my hand just instinctively shot out, and the forces were just too much for the body to handle, and it just went, you know. And so it was sticking out. And I'm a pretty even keel guy. Like I didn't scream or anything, but I was in shock, and so I just kept breathing through it. And I thought, okay, well, the next thing is I got to go to the hospital, and a pandemic has just started, and I don't know if I want to go there, but I do. I go to the ER, and they give me some morphine, and it's really early days, so there's hardly anybody in there, which is great. And I'm like, do what you guys got to do to straighten it out. So they're checking it out on the x-rays. They do the x-rays first. And they notice, like I said, that there's this hook at the end that allows it to hang into place. And that hook was still there. Usually that hook breaks off. And when it breaks off, you have to do surgery because there's no longer anything to hold it in place. But that hook was still there. And I attribute that to the strong bones in my diet. So that was a good pat on the back when that bone was still there, because for most people it breaks. And I knew, hey, I must be doing something right. But at that point, I'm on morphine, and morphine's very interesting. You don't really feel like anything is happening, but you can't feel pain. And so they start to pull it, and they pull it back into place, and it snaps back into place instantly. And you can feel it when it's back. It feels right. And they explained to me, like, all these ligaments and tendons are totally gone. They're ripped, and you're going to have to go to see a specialist. And so once that happened, I thought to myself, like I said earlier about the regeneration with the farmers, why is it that my skin can regenerate when I cut it? Why is it that other parts of my body, but some parts can't, apparently? Who decided that? Like, I'm seeing these amazing things happen with the plant regeneration. Maybe it's just a matter of feeding the area what it needs. And so that's when I got into the research about what our ligaments made up of. They're made of collagen, and one of the best sources of collagen is seaweed, wonderful plant, and Irish moss in particular, and we sell that as well. And you can get that in a form that's a plant rather than a powder, and it'll still have the life force. So the main key is the life force. You want to have the bioelectric energy along with the plant so that your body isn't expending energy of its own. To be able to regenerate, you have to have more energy than regular. And digestion is one of the biggest taxations of energy. So I switched my diet to juices. And the reason I did that was because juices are full of nutrition. They're already broken down. You don't have to chew them. And they're extremely easy on your body to digest. Now, if you go to a hospital, they're going to give you an IV for the same reason. It takes the taxation off your digestive system. And the digestion is very, very taxing on the system. So all that energy is now being saved, and you can apply that to the regeneration. So as I'm wrapping my arm, and we kind of figured out that it was turmeric, and there was a lot of other things in that Chinese arm wrap that I got on my ankle. I started applying that to my elbow, trying to focus the blood into that area. Every time I would drink the collagen, I would then dunk my elbow in ice bucket followed by hot water bucket, and that expands the area and contracts it, expands it and contracts it. And that draws in the blood, because as it's cooled down, the body wants to shoot blood in there to warm it back up. So I would have that flowing through my bloodstream, the collagen, and it would be getting to the ligaments where I need it, because it's hard to get blood flow to those areas. So as I'm doing that, week after week after week, I can start to see areas starting to fill in, because I could see parts that were missing and where things were torn. And that was pretty encouraging, because I'm feeling better. I'm seeing it actually starting to regrow. The issue is it was totally locked. In my mind, I thought if things are going to regrow, they need to be stationary so that they have a chance. I didn't know, are the two ends of ligaments going to kind of find each other and link together? Is a new one completely going to bridge across and the other one going to dissolve? Like, I don't know how this is going to work. But I knew if I kept it stationary, it had a better chance of working. Doctors recommend to keep it moving so that you keep your mobility. but I knew that would just rip it apart every day. And so I tried something else. What I didn't know was that the reason doctors recommend that is because it locks into position and you cannot move it. So 13 weeks into it, my elbow is looking great, but I cannot move it. Like I put it up against a wall, I lean it with my entire body weight. It is stuck at 90 degrees. It's not budging. So that's when I remembered the stuff with my ankle and the Chinese Tai Chi master. And I started wrapping it even more. And I started doing acupuncture on those areas to trigger the release of energy. It could have been trauma energy is what I was thinking with my ankle, which was causing the rigidity. And that turned out to be the case. So it's just amazing that life has guided me step by step with all the pieces I needed exactly right at the right time so that I knew what to do at the right time. Otherwise, none of this would have been possible. But it just, I don't know, I was just kind of guided. And it took me another 6 weeks of, as I was wrapping it and doing the acupuncture, the flexibility just returned. And then I had 100% use again. And so I'm like, okay, let me go get an MRI to really see for real, like what's going on if it's back to 100%. And yeah, it was. Everything was there. They were looking at me funny, like, why did you come in here?